Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining me on today's show, folks. We are finally here. Okay, it's week 0. Yeah, the games are terrible, but it's college football. It is college football. And we're going to talk about week 0 football games that will be played tomorrow. Talk a little bit about Notre Dame and their game in Dublin. I know it's not a big deal. A lot of you don't care about Notre Dame. We're going to talk about other games. We're going to talk about college betting lines as well. Now, I'm not into betting, but I will talk about the lines because it gives you an idea of the confidence that people believe that certain teams hold a particular ability to beat another team. We'll talk about that, and we're going to talk about the never-ending embarrassment of the ACC expansion. But first, I'm Brian Knight. I am not Bobby Durkins, at least not here. Hit the subscribe button if you've been watching me. If you've not, just started watching me, you've been watching me for a while and you've not subscribed, please do it. It does help out the channel and it's free. Also, Bobby Durkins is back, folks. Bobby Durkins is back. Bobby Durkins has been doing a lot of shorts. And by the way, these shorts have been receiving a lot of attention. And transparently, I'm just going back to what I really wanted to do with Bobby. And it was just just have fun. Just be funny. And it didn't have to be college football based. He will be back to talk about college football. And warning, he's going to talk more trash than ever. So, you'll have to be on the lookout for Bobby Durkins. So week 0 starts tomorrow. Next weekend is week 1. Clemson opens up, obviously, on Monday night, Labor Day night, up in Durham, 8 o'clock on Monday night, Labor Day night. But the day before, Florida State and LSU have to play. Next Thursday, Utah and Florida play. But tomorrow, we get the first taste of the college football games. Now, with this, it's going to start off with Navy and Notre Dame in Dublin, Ireland. Now, this game happened about 11 years ago in 2012. 2012, Brian Kelly was the coach then. That was the year that Everett Golson was the quarterback. That was actually a pretty good team. That was actually a really good team, in fact. Stephon Tuitt on the front line, Stanley Nix. Unfortunately, they had to play one of the hottest Alabama teams I think probably they've probably ever had. And Alabama was just getting started with their dominance. They ended up getting blown out. But this game was also supposed to take place in 2020, and I don't think I have to tell you what happened there. So it was canceled. So they're finally getting to play this game. I've always wanted to go to Dublin, Ireland. I think it would be fun to go to Dublin. The pictures are beautiful. In fact, the lady who cuts my hair, she's from Ireland. She's told me wonderful things. My wife and I, it's a bucket list for us. But let's talk about football. So Navy, they're not nearly as competitive as they used to be. Notre Dame is a 20.5-point favorite at this point. You say, what's your source? I want your source. Give me a source for your source. And if I don't like your source, it's not a source. Sorry, I just can't stop doing that. VegasInsider.com. Now, Notre Dame, they have Sam Hartman in his 27th year in college football. He has a lot better talent around him. Marcus Freeman had a very bipolar season. We know what happened last year, unexplained losses, then a really good win against, unfortunately, these guys. Played Ohio State quite well. Injuries plagued them. So Marcus Freeman, I believe, is going to have them ready for this game, and I believe he has the talent around the team. Of course, they have Joe Alt, probably the top offensive lineman. He will be picked in the draft next year. So Notre Dame should win this game handily. I'll be 2:30, and I do believe that is on NBC or Peacock. Have Parker Henderson in here. Good to see you, my friend. Slim Shady Canes. Ahoy. It's good to see you. I could be wrong, but that's a Dave Landau remark. Am I right? I could be wrong. Could be. I'll go through these next ones really, really quick because they're not that great. But remember, it's college football. It's not one of the 9,000 Major League Baseball games that will be played. I wished I loved baseball. If I loved baseball like I loved college football, I'd be in heaven. I like college basketball. I don't love it, but I like college basketball. Unfortunately, Clemson doesn't give us much. That's not the players' fault. It's the administration for keeping a guy around a very long time who I don't think is a bad coach. I just think he's complacent and he doesn't care anymore. They wasted a ton of talent. I have a soapbox on that. They wasted their talent last year. I'll leave that alone. And for the next person who wants to come coach at Clemson, if you offer them enough money, anybody will come coach at Clemson. It has to be a priority. But off of that, I love college football. I can't wait. This is awesome. Even though these games are terrible, this is awesome. Tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., UTEP and Jacksonville State. UTEP's only a 1-point favorite. 7 o'clock tomorrow night, UMass and New Mexico State. This should be called the toilet bowl because these are the two worst college football teams in the FBS. Former Clemson quarterback Tyson Pomachew, I think that's how you pronounce his name, has been given the nod to start at UMass. Remember, he transferred to Georgia Tech last year, sat behind Jeff Sims. I wonder if he would have stayed had he known Jeff Sims was going to transfer to Nebraska. I don't know. Another player who was undeveloped, in my opinion. It might be totally on him. I don't know. But either way, we've seen what's happened at Clemson in the past. Fortunately, Sweeney has made some coaching changes. That game will be going on. Next up, another weird game. 7 o'clock, Ohio. Yes, the Bobcats of Ohio will be playing San Diego State. San Diego State. This will be at San Diego State. And the Aztecs are 2.5-point favorites. And then this game is one of my favorite games to talk about. And let me tell you why this game. It's not because of the game. It's because of the location. It's because of what we used to hear about the college football playoff. You remember the whole, if we expand the college football playoff, what are we going to do about travel? How are we going to move all these people all over the place? It's going to be so expensive. How are we going to do that? Says the same system that has what? 40 bowls? There's teams that are sub 500 getting into a bowl game. But this one is the telltale. Hawaii and Vanderbilt. If anybody was worried about money, you would be talking about this game. These fan bases don't even exist unless your child is playing on this team. And even then, you don't care. You care about your kid, but you don't necessarily care about the program. What? 5,000 miles between them, including half an ocean? I'll tell you how bad Miami is, or Hawaii is. Sorry, Slim Shady Canes, you put Miami in my head there. Hawaii and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is a 17.5-point favorite. Thank you very much. That's bad. You should stop playing football if that's the case. At 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Southern Cal and San Jose State plays. You have a Bay Area team playing a Southern California team. Of course, USC is really good at football. They are a 30.5-point favorite led by Caleb Williams, the front runner for the Heisman Trophy to repeat I would not select him first pick overall if you put a gun to my head. I'd go Drake May. That guy right there, Caleb Williams, he may be uber talented, but he's going to bring a ton of baggage with him. And I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to move on because there's one more game. Then I'm going to get into Notre Dame. I talked a little bit about Notre Dame. We'll talk about this horrible expansion of SMU coming to the ACC. My God. I've only seen parts of this Johnny Manziel documentary, and between you and I don't want to watch any of it. You are looking at a man who spiritually believes in redemption. I believe that God gives us, through Jesus, a chance to be redeemed, that we should give people second, third, 14th, and 15th chances. At the same time, these are not blind chances. If you lie to me once or twice, and then you continue to lie to me, it is on me to say, yes, I forgive you, but I don't trust you. So the chances you receive after that is going to be very different than first and second chance, right? That makes sense? Does that make sense? And if the crime is really heinous, obviously you're if you kill somebody, I believe that you can be forgiven for that 100%. But you have to go to jail. If you rape somebody, you have to go to jail. You get where I'm going here? I want to make it very clear. I truly believe in redemption. I don't want to sit and glorify what this kid did. He was given more chances than you and I have ever been given. And when I said chances, let me rephrase that. He was giving more of a platform than you and I have ever been given. He had the world in his hands compared to you and I. And he was told over and over and over, you've got to stop acting the way you're acting. And now we're going to give him a Netflix, we're going to give him some type of special or whatever it is, ESPN special. I don't even see it. That's how much I don't want to watch it. To sit and talk about that, because we have to be very careful we're not glorifying something. That's one of the reasons I've also said what I've said about the University of Georgia and everybody acting like what's going on down there. I'm tired of 30 for 30 specials. I'm tired of them. After the University of Miami, after the University of North Carolina and the stunts they pulled, after Penn State and just the sickeningness that went on there, have we not learned our lesson? I really don't want to watch it. I really don't want to watch it, and I'm not going to watch it. I've already learned the lesson that he needed to learn a long time ago. I don't need to watch that special. You blew it. And while you blew it, you were holding your middle finger up at everybody that was telling you you need to pull it together because you have a great opportunity and you're ruining it. People would kill for the opportunities that you have, but you didn't want to hear it. And now we're going to give him a Netflix special or an ESPN special or whatever the special is. I don't think we need to glorify that. ACC expansion. Now, before I got on here, I pulled up an article just to make sure before I came on here and started spilling my guts about the ACC expansion. Because I knew that if I didn't at least Google it before I got on here, someone would come on. Obviously, he hadn't heard. I've heard the latest. So while the Big Ten is making these massive moves, the SEC has made their moves. The ACC has been totally ill-prepared this entire time. You know it, and I know it. Whether you have a team, unfortunately, like I do, in the ACC, or you're just on the outside looking in. The ACC reminds me of someone who maybe they have, excuse me, they have a next door neighbor who does very well. They do very well for themselves, and they're trying to keep up with them, right? They're trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, but they can't. They don't have it in the budget, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. But here's the problem: you try to keep up with the Joneses when all you would have to do is leave it alone, because then your next move you're going to make is going to be pathetic anyway. So the next door neighbor goes and buys one of those brand new Corvettes that looks fantastic. And to try to keep up with them, you go and you buy a brand new Hyundai, and you're riving it up in the front yard while looking over there at them at their brand new Corvette. And your next door neighbor, they're not even an arrogant person, but they're looking over there at you going, they're riving up a Hyundai at me. That's what the ACC is doing. Oh, y'all made a move? Oh, we're going to make a move. We're going after the Bay Area. Yes. The two schools that hasn't been relevant in college football in a very, very long time. And the only thing they're really, really good at, especially UCal Berkeley, is staging some type of social activist riot. That's all they're good at. Oh, we're going to sweeten the pot. We're going after SMU. You heard me right, folks. If this is your first time hearing this, I am sorry. I imagine that most people on this, at least live stream, has probably heard this already. But the ACC is now adding SMU to the pot. Brent Niven says, what is the ACC thinking? Clemson deserves better. I would rather them not make a move. Once again, this is someone who has totally lost out. Like the example I gave just a second ago, where the next door neighbor is well-to-do, goes and buys a brand new Corvette. You're trying to keep up with them. And you pull up in your brand new Hyundai, and you're riving it up while looking at them while they're polishing the Corvette. Dude, you look pathetic. That's how the ACC looks. Now, folks, I'm not knocking Hyundais or Kias or anything like that. I'm not doing that whatsoever. The moral of the story is you're behind someone and you're trying to keep up with them. And your job is pathetic. You're not doing it. Well, the ACC has to make a move. Go to the restroom. I don't know. Take a dump. You missed your chance. A buddy of mine asked me the other day. He was talking to me about career, and he was like, I was thinking about applying for a job, but I didn't really feel like I was qualified for it, you know? And I said, I'm going to give you the advice that a friend of mine gave me a very, very, very long time ago. A friend of mine who's done quite well for himself, who's actually really good at his job. He's one of the best people I know. He's been very instrumental in my life. And he told me this one thing. This guy, he makes fantastic money. He told me this. He said, if you ever think about applying for a job and you're reading down the qualifications, I just don't think, unless you're like trying to apply to be a surgeon or something, But he said, unless you're trying to be a surgeon or a rocket scientist, he said, apply for it. First, what's it going to hurt? Especially applications are really easy to fill out today. And then he said, second of all, how many times have you had to say yes, sir, or no, sir, to an idiot that you were wondering, how did they get that job? And I've carried that with me ever since then. And it's given me the confidence to apply for some jobs. And hey, I've it's actually worked out for me, to be quite honest. Another example of this would be to look at the people in the ACC who signed this horrible deal with television and that whole deal. That's where I was going to with that statement. That was where I was. That was the destination. I guarantee you, the vast majority of you who's watching this or will watch this in the future, including myself, would be snarled at by the very people who went into this terrible deal. Maybe some of them are more educated than you and I. Or if we have the same education, maybe they went to a better school. They probably make more money than both you and I do. And they made the dumbest decisions ever. And they're continuing to do it, folks. Public service announcement. Unless you're trying to become a surgeon and you're not a surgeon, apply for that job. Because apparently these people who got into this, and they're still doing this, got us into this terrible TV deal, the ACC. They are doubling down on the terrible decisions. Let's just keep adding. Who's the next school they're going to add? New Mexico State? How about they go after Vanderbilt? I mean, if the SEC is really focused on making this about football mainly, and the SEC, love it or not, is fantastic in a lot of sports. Baseball, they just won another national championship, and basketball. But you'd have to kick out Vandy. Well, maybe the ACC can go and pick up Vandy. That would be great. At the trajectory that we're at now, why not add Vandy? How about we go down to Clinton, South Carolina, and add Presbyterian? Maybe we can pick up the Presbys. For each game, we can baptize a baby, doesn't know it's being baptized, dry it off, kick off the game. Maybe we can go up to Idaho and you go, Boise State? No, the Idaho Vandals. I think they're in Moscow, Idaho? Let's go up there. The decisions just keep getting worse. Why not just keep adding to it? Guys, it just hit me. We need to add a Canadian football team. I can go ahead and tell you right now, when you do a show like this and it's college football related, especially, you'll have some guy who's like, he's not like me, who's like I'm opinionated. And obviously, I started the channel and I enjoyed talking college. Okay, that's a lie. I love talking college football, but there's some of these people that get really mad, and they're probably going, "Well, the rule says that a Canadian team." I'm kidding. Calm down, Pee Wee. It just keeps getting worse. Hey, everybody in the comment section, please listen to me. Please, I see some other people got in here. M. Brand BB, it's good to see you. D. Taylor. Slim Shady Kane said high ups at Clemson signed the deal. Yeah. I totally blame them. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's all of them. It's not one centralized group of poor decision makers. It's all of them. This is not just a Clemson. This is the ACC as a conglomerate. I'm nervously reaching for my water and bringing it back and forth because I can't believe it. Put in the comment section some other teams that the ACC should go after that just doesn't make sense. I've already named out New Mexico State, Idaho Vandals, go down to Clinton, South Carolina, pick up Presbyterian. You're like, Presbyterian, they're not even FC. I know. I know. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. How stupid. I mean, just absolutely stupid. Brent Niven says Vanderbilt. Yes, I named Vanderbilt just a second ago. That's a great one, Vandy. We could go Vandy. Northeastern Maine State Community College. That'd be beautiful. Let's go after Northwestern State. M. Brand Baby says, I'm late to the video. What has happened? So this came out yesterday. And I'm just talking about this with week 0 college football. Notre Dame plays tomorrow. And then I was talking about the ACC expansion. This is what came out. That the ACC, on top of wanting to add Cal and Stanford, they've now extended an offer, or want to add, SMU. This is just... Now, in the article that I read, said that as of this morning, NC State, North Carolina, Clemson, and Florida State has still voted no to add them. Slim Shady Kane says, add Memphis. I want ACC games close to me. Hey, at this point, why not? Why not? Memphis makes about as much sense as SMU. I can't thumb my nose up at that. Memphis over the past few years has been better than off and on has been better than SMU. It'd be a better quality team. If Memphis in the past few years, I know they go up and down and so on, so everybody don't hold me to the very letter of every season, but how they've had, decent teams with Fuente, was it Fuente or Fuentes? It's the guy at VT who got fired. And then Norville, that's down at Florida State. Those two, when those guys were there, those two teams could beat a lot of really good football teams. I would take them over Stanford and Cal Berkeley. I'm telling you, folks, the people in San Francisco cares nothing about college football. Nothing. National championship, Clemson ended up beating the brakes off of Alabama. The national championship was held there in San Francisco. Parker Henderson and Chase went to the game. They sat beside people. Now, here they are. They're from the state of Georgia. They're huge Clemson fans. Them and their family paid the money to go 3,000 miles away. Made a big plan of it. Flew out there to see Clemson, which is worth it. And they sat beside somebody who didn't even really know that a game was going on. And they heard, there's a college football game tonight. You know what? We're just going to pick up a few tickets and go. Picked them up for like $125 a piece. City didn't even know. And both those schools are in that city metropolitan area. In the Bay Area. So don't talk to me about new markets because they don't have one. Lord help me. The ACC wants a Texas market. Do you go after TCU? No. Go after Baylor? No. A&M in Texas is already spoken for. You go after UTSA, that's actually a decent football team right now? No. At least they didn't go after UTEP. Don't be shocked when they do. These are the same people who will sit at very important tables with very important people making a lot of money, and they are making decisions that you and I would only make in a nightmare. And this would be about the time that some of those people go, well, you have to understand. Well, I do have to understand. You don't know what you're doing, and somebody was dumb enough to hire you. So silly. It's ridiculous. I said so silly. I just can't take it. So, ACC expansion is still the embarrassment that it is. It's like the Country Bear Jamboree. Every time you think they can't get worse, they do. So tomorrow, what are my picks for tomorrow? Now, I'm not talking for betting or anything like that, but I am going to tell you my picks for the game tomorrow. Notre Dame and Navy. Obviously, Notre Dame. They have the talent. 2:30, NBC, Peacock, whatever. It's in Dublin, Ireland. That'll be interesting to watch just because of that. I will be interested to see how Sam Hartman meshes with his team. Okay? I don't believe that Navy stands a chance in this game. If Navy did beat them for some reason, head coach is gone immediately. UTEP and Jacksonville. Who cares? Jacksonville State. I would go Jacksonville State there. UMass and New Mexico State. I'll lean towards UMass. Why not? Ohio and San Diego State. By the way, I haven't looked at all these rosters. I'm not going to waste my time on unimportant games. I lean San Diego State. They've been solid off and on. Vanderbilt and Hawaii. It's like choosing a virus. Do I rather throw up or would I rather take a dump for 48 hours straight? I'd rather take a dump. Vanderbilt. San Jose State and USC. USC wins this game. It's just stay healthy. And watch this. Caleb Williams is going to come out and he's going to throw for I don't know, a ton of yards. And that's all you're going to hear about next weekend when College Game Day kicks off. That's all you're going to hear. It's like, dude, it's San Jose State. If Cade came out and threw for 350, 400 yards against Duke, his praise would be more well-deserved than if Caleb Williams came out and threw for 500 on them. San Jose State's not that good of a team. USC by a lot. Florida International and La Tech. I lean towards La Tech on this one. They should win that ball game. Well, folks, I'm going to let you go. College football is here. College football is here. I don't know if you heard it. College football is here. Remember that next week is the official week 1. Starting on Thursday night, the most notable game, Florida at Utah. I think the Utah wins that game. They should win that game. But if they get it in their head that Florida is Florida and start playing around, you could see something kind of odd happen. The only other game that night that's kind of interesting is Nebraska at Minnesota, and that's just because Matt Rule, that will be his very first game. Of course, it'll be followed up by Friday night, Stanford in Hawaii. Who cares? Louisville and Georgia Tech. That'll be an interesting game to a point. Miami of Ohio and Miami, Florida gets together, and then Saturday, the insanity just ensues. Virginia and Tennessee and Nashville. We'll go over that next week. Colorado, Deion will finally get his first game playing TCU. I mean, as I said, Clemson and Florida State kicks off their season that weekend. So we finally have college football. North Carolina and South Carolina plays at the Carolina Panther Stadium, so that will be very interesting. Folks, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for coming out. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. My friends, subscribe if you hadn't. I will catch you next time. As always, go Tigers.